No matter how big it is, every pilot has to keep track of the fuel in his plane. If he doesn't, a bad thing will happen. And once it starts, it's too late. YouTube, believe it or not, is very close to that position. Previously, we talked about how the algorithm came to measure what people watched and not what it did for them, and how it created a decapitation effect, which destroyed their creators and left only low-effort, high-volume content. Since then, I've been thinking about it a lot, and we're going to go deeper on that topic, into where that's going, the true value of creativity, and how billions of dollars can hinge on simple decisions, which will lead us to some ways that YouTube could actually reverse this path. If you're down for it, get comfortable. This is part 3 of the social media series. When internet video first blew up, there were actually a lot of sites that offered it, and YouTube was actually known as the basic one. It required the least amount of special knowledge or ability to use, and was open to anyone. But that simplicity and accessibility was key to YouTube eventually dominating. It actually counteracted all the barriers that kept talent out of the entertainment industry. No one needed money, special technology, prior approval, or powerful friends. And that opened the door to an influx of people and content who did things that no one in the field had ever even considered. And that stage quickly caught fire and made YouTube a creative force itself that actually started to influence Hollywood more than Hollywood influenced it. But when YouTube became overwhelmed by the amount of new content that they were getting, they handed things over to the algorithm, which created the decapitation effect. And on top of that, they sold the front page, the place where everyone went to see the natural best things that were emerging, to big media companies, which is how we ended up in the position we're in now. YouTube has maximized their watch time and their advertising money, and the creators, the few people who actually put the time and effort into learning and making their work, have paid the price for it. Now, someone might ask, so what? What difference does it make? Well, words like creator and artist get misused a lot, and mocked. That actually happens because there's something very real that goes with those words, and that's the role they play in our lives. We spend all our waking hours staring at mundane things that draw our attention but ultimately don't do much for us. And like we've talked about, that's where art came from. What that art does is fill in those missing parts of our experience, the greater things we want to feel but almost never get to. And art can do that in a way that's different from anything else, and on a level we can't experience in any other way. What kind of level? Well, they called Raphael a mortal god. I've never heard things like that in any other context, at least not sincerely. And it's not about the artists themselves. It's about what that art does for us. A great work combines not only its own beauty, but our curiosity about how it was produced, its statement about a person's true passion, life and ambition, the history of the world, and what we as people can really achieve. That level of emotion is normally associated only with experiences that people spend their entire lives trying to have once, and to recreate after that. And in years of studying it, I've never found anything that can hold that same level of power for multiple people. The Mona Lisa and many other works of art are literally valued more per ounce than diamond, gold, and platinum put together. It may not be something old or even that expensive, but if you have something in your life that means only a fraction of that to you, you know what I'm talking about. You can never have that part of life without real artists. No mundane activity in front of a camera will ever get you there. No reposted clip from TV or political argument will ever even touch it. And the circumstances that create it are very fragile. It takes rare talent, real dedication, and lots of time to do it, which often requires a special amount of support to allow it to happen. And what we've ended up with is the opposite. If you notice, there's very little YouTube content that is actually creative. Things which require actual writing, editing, notes, outlines, or effort, and where the person has pride and a piece of themselves in what they create. And with those people gone, we all lose something. Because that level of emotional power is what YouTube actually relied on to become what it is. If movie trailers and television clips were good enough, Hulu would be the #1 video site, which should show the situation and what we're headed toward. But all is not lost. I've had this issue on my mind and found some ways out of it. Now, we already mentioned a more detailed rating system, but beyond that, I noticed something more clear and direct. YouTube could likely solve a lot of these problems by having an alternate type of account. You could call it an artisan channel. In very simple terms, an artisan channel would have a limited number of uploads it could make in exchange for having its videos recommended more. The default might be that an artisan channel can't upload more than once per week, but by default, its subscribers would automatically see its videos when they go up. Right off the bat, this puts the judgment of the channel's quality on actual people, who can stay subscribed or not based on what they see. And low-effort or spam channels couldn't take advantage of it because they'd have to compete with content that has much more put into it. Would some people try to exploit it? Of course. But that's true with everything, and I think this would greatly increase the average quality of what people get. And on top of that, the low frequency wouldn't reduce how much YouTube has to show, because that space would be filled by the many slower channels who have better things to offer that already aren't being seen. You might even actually start to see animation channels, and a lot of other things come back. And since these channels upload more slowly, it would be easier to have manual review of their content as well. And speaking of reviewing content, another important feature would be restitution. YouTube has already made one change to protect their uploaders from having their revenue blocked by false copyright claims when the videos first go up. They should take the next step and protect people from being demonetized incorrectly. If a video goes up and gets flagged as unfriendly to advertisers, and the manual review later finds it to have been a mistake, YouTube should put the equivalent ad money into the user's account regardless. They didn't put the ads on the video, but that's not the uploader's fault. It's theirs. And while it wouldn't make much difference to them, that small bit of protection would create a lot more security and goodwill with their creators, especially the ones who upload less frequently and thus get hurt far more by those mistakes. Now, like I've said, I'm not in YouTube's offices. I don't know what policies they have or haven't implemented. I'm only going by what I can see from the outside as a single user. But what I have seen looks very dangerous, and actually is getting worse, because the standard video length and frequency that the algorithm seems to promote keeps going upward as more and more real creators get burned out and removed. It was 10 minutes, then 20 to 30. Now it's starting to reach an hour or more.
During the period that I experienced the most growth on my channel, I uploaded 3 to 5 videos a day.
This means that soon, the only content on YouTube will be streaming mundane things and stolen or reposted clips, which means that YouTube, which was once the future of entertainment, will end up as a glorified VCR, letting you bootleg or rewatch TV, or letting you see yourself and be the only person watching it. Now, the big question might be, who cares? YouTube is a business and they're making lots of money. So big deal, right? Well, here's the real deal. What YouTube is doing has been done by other large sites and the results have not been good. And what it is putting prominence over value. Trying to make money by simply putting disposable things in front of people on a massive scale. And while you may make some money doing that, you end up suffering in a category that is proven to be just as important in society, which is your reputation. People get annoyed when you get in their way with something they don't care about. And as a result, people may interact with you, but they won't like you. And you end up building up negativity that eventually blows up in your face. And yes, they get away at the end with a certain amount of money, but if you focus on offering things that actually matter to people, you can keep making money while also having real respect and a legacy. And that's the way YouTube could go. They could turn into a company that only offers spam and television replays, but that'll drain the quality that they once had to offer, which will eventually make the viewers and the sponsors go away, followed by the money and their reputation.
Do you think Aerosmith will be in tonight?
I doubt it.
Or they could go the other way and take entertainment to another level, something that will play a real and important role in the world. That decision is in their hands. Thanks very much for watching this video, and a special thanks to Calliope, who is my newest Patreon supporter. Please like the video and comment if you have anything to add, and I'll see you next time.